Oh, do you know that?
Welcome to the Appetite for Discussion show with your host, Brandon Crouch. Tonight's show is sponsored by Hunk of Junk Hauling.
Oh, thanks, Julius. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Tonight's show, I have the lead singer of Black Demize, Mr. Brian Mandigo.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
What's up, buddy? This is going to be a fun show. We've done nothing but look at each other and laugh over dumb shit already, so this is good. Hey, as always, if you guys can name the title and artist of tonight's intro song, we have a little bit of Black Demize swag that we'll be sure to get to you. So please leave a comment on the YouTube channel of who the artist and title of the song is. All right.
Sounds great.
Perfect. Thanks, man. Hey, well, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
So, I was pretty excited to have a metal guy come in because I too am a fan of metal. But how old were you when you were like, I like this, I like that, but I really dig metal?
Well, I think I discussed it before. You know, first concert that I ever went to was Conway Twitty, Loretta Lynn, and Charlie Pride.
Right.
And I was like, you know, as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
But then the next concert I went to was Kiss. And I was right up front in front of Gene Simmons, and I was like, that's what I want to do right there.
I want to stand up here and drip blood from my mouth on little kids.
Yeah, shoot fire.
That's right. Put me on fire. That's cool. And what year was that?
Oh, God. I'm going to say 77, 78, something like
77.
that.
And you were how old?
Let's see, 65.
So you're like 12?
11, 12.
11, 12 years
like,
old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first concert I ever went to, I was 9 years old, and I went to go see, my mom took me to go see Motley Crue and Warrant.
Wow.
At the old Charlotte Coliseum.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Now it's called Bojangles Coliseum.
I believe it is,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, something like that. So that's when I knew. I mean, we had, grown up listening, or I, at the time, was listening to other stuff, but there was something about being there and just the energy of the show and the showmanship and, the entertainment value that they brought. Even as a young lad, I was like, that is so cool,
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a mix of high energy and sometimes screaming vocals, sometimes singing vocals, crunchy guitar, drummers that just, date superstars and stuff.
That's appealing too. So I get to sing music, I get to party, and I get to date the hot chicks.
Yeah.
Or I
never had that luxury.
Of the drinking or the hot chicks?
Well, I drank a little bit, just a little.
So, how old were you when you got into your first or had your first band?
Actually, kind of a late bloomer. I'm going to say 18, 19, something like that. Something of that nature. Yeah. Well, I was auditioning for bands from like 15 till then. You were telling them thanks but no thanks. Yeah. They weren't saying, "Hey man, to go." Yeah. No, it was horrible. I mean, it was literally horrible. I remember I went to this audition with this band called Mayhem out of Syracuse. They were very popular. And their singer moved away or something. They're holding auditions at this big warehouse studio. And I was like, I had their cassette because there was no CDs or anything like that back then. But I had their cassette. And cassettes were kind of new then, too. But, man, I learned the lyrics. I, rewind, because they didn't come with lyrics.
Right.
So I figured out the lyrics and I figured out the songs. And I was like, I'm ready for this. Yes, I'm going to slay this, And I get down there and they just kind of looked at me. I could tell already. They're like, he looks too much like a goober. You know what I mean? Because it was all about image. You know what I mean? These guys are a bunch of posers, So, and I wasn't a poser.
Were you wearing like a button down? You had khakis on, little boat shoe, and you were like, I'm going to kill it, Mom.
I think I had some long cut-off jeans with clogs. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just pretty much black T-shirts, ripped up jeans, that type of thing. Those guys are kind of more like spandex, big teased hair, that type thing. But I dug it, and at the time I was like, if I can just get this gig, man, it'll be awesome. And man, I just choked. I mean, it was so embarrassing. There's so many people there, and it was a very embarrassing moment. And right then and there, I was like, oh, maybe this isn't the path for me. You know what I mean? So, I just got together with different guys and did cover songs. Everything from Ronnie Montrose to AC/DC to Aerosmith to Led Zeppelin to Black Sabbath, all that type of thing, and just kind of honed in on it a little bit. And at one time I was actually pretty good. Now at my age, I'm just lucky to be up there breathing and moving around, to be honest with you. But it's very high energy music, and I think it does say a lot to keeping yourself youthful. You know what I mean? Because I see guys that are my age, 53, and they're, I'm like, don't you mean 73? They got one foot in the grave already, you know what I mean? And I'm like, look, I may have partied hard in the late 70s and 80s and into the 90s and possibly into the 2000s and so on and so forth. But there's a thing called moderation, Right. Anything too much is too bad for you. You breathe too much air, what happens? You pass out.
You drink too much water. Water toxicity.
That's
you
right.
Die.
That's right. Eat too much, what happens?
You get fat.
That's right. You that type of thing. So, everything in moderation, and I think that's the key. Moderation and good music.
So you've been in bands basically since 18 to 53 years old.
Correct. Now I did take a break when my daughter was born. Probably about a year and a half into her, when she was born, a year and a half later. And I was like, okay, I have a decision here to make. I can either go out on the road, because I was in a pretty decent band at the time, and we were doing really well. And do I go out on the road and tour, or do I stay home and become a father? And I was like, something, I think I'm going to be a dad. I think cool. that's where my heart's at. And I have no, regrets for it. I just had to wait until she was 18 before I could start doing my thing again, I mean, now don't get me wrong, I have done things periodically in between, but nothing like in a serious, original, promote your own music, sell your own merchandise, book your own gigs, play, open up for nationals, whatever the case may be. Before It was kind of a fun thing, now it's kind of like a bucket list thing.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's for some people, it's not, for others, but for me it works.
So, you're in your band now. You guys do some, I don't want to call it light touring, but I think you got some stuff coming up in South Carolina. And how do you just kind of stay locally here on the East Coast, just a few hours away? Is that what you try to do?
Well, generally, because being in a metal band pays so much,
right?
I mean, we're just bringing down the bucks, man. But you try to keep it within 100 miles.
Okay.
Generally, if it's a Friday night, if it's a Saturday night, a couple 100 miles.
Gotcha.
If you're going to do it all weekend or a 4-day weekend or go out, then you can start venturing further. But I mean, we've played, from New York down to Atlanta, and just about every state down through here.
What's it like going to a place like New York to play? Because, I mean, you're from New York.
Yes,
originally,
yes,
and
absolutely.
you moved down here when?
In 1989.
Okay, so you've been down here
I'm a Yebble.
30 years.
Yeah, I'm a Yebble.
A Yebble?
Yeah.
Is that a Yankee Rebel?
Yeah.
I love it. If nothing else, folks, we learned a new word. Yeah, and good night.
Well, it's better than a ranky.
Yeah, Yebble has a little bit of rolls off the tongue, right? Has some sophistication to it.
Yeah.
So, all right, so 1989, and but you played in a few. I'm sorry. So let's go back. What's it like playing? I guess maybe what was it like playing in New York then, and then going back as a wiser man and playing New York again?
Well, one of the things that I have realized is that the scene changes, the people change. People tend to phase out of the music as they get older. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I can't even count on one hand of the guys that I've known since the beginning that continue to play. It's either they've retired or, they're just not into it. They're tired of losing money. You know what I mean? I'm tired of putting this, tired of losing all my money, and this ain't making it. It's like, well, you're in for it for the wrong reasons if you're into it for the money. But so the scene changes, and the people change. You keep getting older and people keep getting younger, and it's a different vibe. Sometimes I think that the younger generation doesn't understand that us old guys are the ones that started it, the ones that were there at the beginning, the ones that, that literally hung out with the guys like James Hetfield or Lemmy from Motorhead or Tommy Lee from Motley Crue or Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. You know what I mean? All these guys, Anthrax, et cetera, et cetera. They're about my age. Mm-hmm. So when these bands were going around, and that's why I was trying to get in that band Mayhem, and that I was like, come on, I need to get in a band and hang out with these guys.
If I'm not mistaken, Mayhem, someone mentioned them. Either they opened up for someone. And I want to say, I don't think it was Motley Crue, but somewhere my rock community Rolodex is like going. You've heard Mayhem before,
yeah,
and somewhere. Sorry, but go ahead.
No, that's all right.
But that would be a good reason to get in there. That was your Mark Wahlberg from Rockstar moment. You insert yourself to Steel Dragon. That was your moment.
Yeah, that's actually a good movie.
Oh, it's a great movie. Unfortunately for him, it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have shit the bed if I'd have been up there too.
Hey, believe me, I've always thought about, just kind of retiring out of metal and just heading on down to Delaney's and doing a acoustic thing.
Did we good? Okay.
All right.
We had a little tweety went off in our ear. And I don't believe it was my Twitter. Speaking of, I do have a Twitter account now, and I'll put the link to that in my YouTube channel. You can be sure to tweet my Twitter, and we'll get back to you if you got any questions or anything like that. Or want to post a comment of who opened up for Mayhem or vice versa. For all you avid listeners out there.
Yeah.
I am up to 4 subscribers.
Are you?
Yeah. 4.
Fantastic.
I did have 5, but apparently a guy unfollowed me because now he's following some ant farm up in Canada. This is a real story. I found that out today.
Really?
I was like, your husband's what? Yeah, he's following some ant farm now up in Canada. I'm like, an ant farm?
Well, usually they have
channel?
I would have thought it would have been a worm farm.
It's an ant farm. I don't know.
Anyway. What can you tell? You can never tell about a Canuck.
And their ant farms.
I don't know. I don't think that's considered an insult, is it? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
No,
because they have a team called the Canucks, right?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not up on my Canadian hockey for sure. But you played in some cover bands too, right? No, tribute bands.
Tribute bands, yeah. Judas Priest tribute for a couple of years. It was a lot of fun. Once again, we actually made money doing that. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Had fun, made money. It was pretty cool. We tried to play a lot of the classic Priest that a lot of people, everybody knows, breaking the law, or you got another thing coming. That.
Right.
I'm like, oh God, I don't want to play those songs.
Right.
So we would play the abstract ones. Beyond the realms of death. All Guns Blazing, Night Prowler, you know, just the Ripper, just some of the older classic stuff,
Now those guys, they still play, but it's Rob and it's not the original band anymore. There's only two. It's Rob and maybe
I think
guitar.
Ian Hill, the bass player.
The bass player, yeah.
I think that's his name, Ian Hill, possibly. Yeah, they've, KK Downing has been out for a few years, and then Glenn Tipton, he's just been diagnosed, I think, with Parkinson's or something of that nature. That's, so, he can still play.
Yeah.
But, you got to understand, when you're on tour, like these guys have been throughout their whole entire lives, when you go out on tour, it's a very grueling, night after night after night after night. You're playing 5-6 nights a week. You know what I mean? So, that's got to take a lot out of you. I mean, I've done a week or two stint here and there, and I'm like, good God, I need to get the hell home. I'm tired of this crap.
So, speaking of, if you were singing imagine doing that 3 to 5 nights a week for a profession, or you're doing it 1 to 2 weeks in a row. How do you keep your voice in shape? Like, how do you, like on that last show, how are you not like,
like Ronnie James Dio once said, well, he didn't say it, was actually Tony Iommi. He's like, he said, most singers, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden and other vocalists, they're always in the back going, oh, rehearsing and warming up and everything, before they go on. But, Tommy Iommi said, Ronnie James Dio never warmed up before he sang, just went out there and did it. And I can understand that because I don't either, you know what I mean?
No?
It's a feel thing, you know what I mean? Once the music is surrounding you, the amps, the drums, the bass, everything, it just kind of envelops you. And when they're on point, you don't want to make them look bad. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Their music is kicking ass, you know what I mean? So, you don't want to go up there and make these guys look bad. So, you pull up the socks and have at it, you know what I mean? That's all you can do. And if you can't hit specific notes, then you make up for it in some sort of stage thing, you know what I mean?
You cause a diversion.
Yeah, cause a diversion.
You diverge. The craziest question just hit me while you were sitting there. I'll get to that in a second. When you're talking about the bands playing, you get the feel and you get it. I'll get to that question in a second. But you said in your show, because Brian also hosts a show called the Ultimate Metal Show here on the States Vegas Radio. So you guys tune into that. That's on Fridays at 10? Saturdays at 8. Sorry about that. Saturdays at 8, the Ultimate Metal Show.
Nice.
But you, on your first show, you said that you still get nervous and almost have to puke.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this literally 30 years, and you're like,
right.
I'm going to puke.
Right.
I mean, that's a good thing, though.
It is.
Shows you care.
I don't know what it is. It's just, it could be only 2 people in a bar. It could be 200. It could be 2,000. And it's just the nerves,
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be, up until probably about 5-10 years ago, that, while the band was getting tuned up and getting their sound check, I was behind the stage going, blah, 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 you know what I mean?
Getting rid of those chicken wings?
Getting rid of them chicken wings. My body was rejecting me.
Tune into episode 1 if you guys aren't getting the reference. So you feel nervous, you're like you're going to puke, but then you get out there, right? So then you feel your band, they're kicking, and then it just takes over, whatever it is, and
whatever
you're able to.
It is, absolutely. I mean, that's just me, and there's so many people out there that, number one, are so much more talented than me, better singers. You know, they can play multiple instruments. You know, they've been doing it, you know, for as long as I have, and sometimes even if it's only been for 5 years, because some of these young prodigies, man, it's like, check, please. I got to go on after that. No, that sucks, you know.
Do you play any instruments?
Not really. I mean, I've messed around a little bit on the guitar and bass, but I mean, I know my chords. Right. It's just, you know, making them fluent is the problem that I have.
When you're practicing, can you sing and play at the same time?
Oh, hell no.
See, that is like, it's almost like you had to sell your soul to the devil to be able to sing and play at the same time. And one of the people that just blows my mind, because they play hard, they play fast, and James Hetfield, I mean, he is up there just playing so hard, but he's singing. Like, he's doing all that simultaneously, and I think people don't realize how hard that is.
Oh, you know, just here in Statesville, some of the people that play Sista T and, you know, other acoustic acts that play in some of the bars here in Statesville, you know, they can play and sing, and I'm like, oh gosh, I feel so worthless. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I mean, to be able to do that, you have to have a definite talent. You know, you have to.
Don't feel worthless. Sammy Hagar holds a guitar, but he says he really only plays one chord and he just jams it, and then he just sings. So he really just, you know, it's a diversion.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he says.
You mean he didn't play guitar in 3-Lock Box?
I don't think so. No.
1, 2, 3-Lock Box.
So when you're, I gotta ask, man. So when you're on stage and you're feeling it, what do you do when you have to poop?
I've never had to. I've had to piss or pee, or whatever you want to say. No.
Never.
No.
Oh.
You know, and you know why? Because I know my body, and I know what to eat and what not to eat before a gig.
So you prepare.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
You know what I mean? You got to drink lots of water and don't eat any burritos. Especially 7-Eleven burritos. I don't care how hungry you are. You only got $2 in your pocket. $1.89. That bean and beefer looks pretty good.
Don't eat the ton taco in the rodeo parking lot.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you just don't do that.
I get it. So you have to prepare yourself for success when you're what you're eating, what you're drinking.
Right. And it's like festivals, you know. If you're playing a festival, and you know, sometimes the food isn't all that great there, and sometimes if you're bringing food and you cook it, you know what I mean. It depends. And somebody makes a salad or something, I get a little leery when some people make stuff, and you know, but you eat it anyway just to be nice, right? And all of a sudden you're like, you know,
we gotta go on in 10 minutes.
So anytime like we're playing a festival this weekend, the Beer City Metal Fest up in Asheville, North Carolina area, and it's 2 days, 27 bands. We're going on like at 1:30 in the morning. You know, they gave us a choice. You can either go on at 1 in the afternoon or 1:30 in the morning. Like 1:30 in the morning, please. Wow. You know what I mean? But we were fortunate to get on. Some buddies of ours helped us get on that one, and it's just for the experience, just to get exposure to people out in Western Carolina. Mm-hmm. But you know, for instance, for that particular gig, you know, I mean, I'm going to bring an overnight bag, you know, your basic, you know, bathroom stuff and this and that. Yeah. But also Imodium AD in the pill form. Pop one of them babies. I'll tell you what, you don't have to use the can.
No, you're good to go.
You can wait till you get home. Well, you know, they say after 40 it's dangerous to fart.
I've heard that.
After 50, you just don't.
You just don't. There's an old saying, what is it? After 60, you don't trust a fart, you never pass a bathroom.
You never pass a bathroom.
Right, without stopping.
And maybe a kidney stone. I don't know. I haven't had one of those yet. Knock on wood.
So, who were some of the bands that you listen to? Because I know you're more, I don't want to say the underground scene, so to speak, but who were some of the
influences?
Yeah, we can go with the influences that influence you in your music.
Oh, in our music? Well, my personal influences are Ronnie James Dio. I mean, just, spectacular vocalist from way back. He's actually grew up in close to the area I grew up in, upstate New York, Of course, Robert Plant, Bon Scott, Rob Halford, And then, even some of the vocalists that weren't all that great vocally, I just love their voice, like Lemmy from Motorhead.
Right.
Just love his voice. You know what I mean? It's dirty. It's unpolished. That's human. You know what I mean?
It's like the show. A little dirty, unpolished, but it's human.
It's human.
It's right.
More human than human. Hey.
Rob Zombie.
That wasn't the song for the swag either.
That's right. So who are some newer bands, maybe some newer age bands that you like, or aren't getting maybe necessarily the credit that they should? Because I feel like the reason I'm asked that, because I feel like in the world of music, metal itself, if you put metal in its category, thrash, whatever, it doesn't really get the respect that. You know what it is? It's almost like metal is looked at as a lower political class in a way. If I'm trying to maybe
something you're kind of hitting on it, yeah.
Yeah, because if you told someone, "Hey, I play in a jazz band," people are like, "Oh, really? Okay." If you go, "Hey, I play in a thrash, metal band," they're like, "What?" It's a different look, it's a different feel.
They instantly think you have like a fifth grade education. That's as far as you went, which is completely obscene. Because let me tell you something. Most of the metal bands and metalheads are some of the smartest people in the world. Their lyrical forms, are everything from political to religious to social to psychology. It goes over a whole bunch of different issues. You know what I mean? That generally most music doesn't cover, the ooh baby crap, you know what I mean, or whatever, the whole, I don't know, and I'm not trying to down, hip hop or anything like that, but sometimes the lyrical forms are so basic and so they're so what's the word I'm looking for? Primary, okay. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Now
there's this thing called mumble rap. I've heard a lot of what they call hip hop heads who are not necessarily very excited where, rap music, hip hop music is today. They feel like it's lacking in something.
Well, it's lacking in musicians. You know what I mean? I love Ice-T.
Yeah.
I love Ice-T. He's got a full band behind him, and he's rapping out like a SOB, you know what I mean? And he's talking about real issues and real people and talking about real life, Sometimes, these guys, they're just rapping about nothing, rapping about a fantasy world, a fantasy life, and how, gangsta and, this and that. It's like, look, you don't have to be gangster 24/7, you can contribute to a higher level of mentality, with conversation and caring and love and joy and everything. You don't have to be so down and disrespectful to everything around you.
And I think some of that, I was talking to someone, and a lot of it is an act.
Oh,
like
yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of the popular rappers apparently aren't necessarily what they seem. That's the character.
Right.
But they actually went to college. They have an education.
Right.
They weren't. It's not what it appears to be.
I am not putting down, rap or anything else of that nature. But I will tell you this, okay? I've worked behind the scenes with the 322 down in Charlotte. It's a stagehand union, and I've seen and loaded in and loaded out. Excuse me. Everybody from Beyonce to Madonna to David Gilmour to Motley Crue, Kiss, you name it, and most of the hip hop is all tracked. It is all tracked. Even the vocals are tracked. You know what I mean? I mean, in fact, it is so tracked that when they do put up drummers and instruments up there, they're not plugged in. The drum heads have covers on them so that you can't, rubber covers on them so that it doesn't, bleed through. And, it's pretty much like a big karaoke gig with lots of flashing, So, I kind of lost a little respect in regard to that because it's like, look, if you can't get up there and do it live, then, you have no business being up there,
Right.
What was it? Who was the two guys that got busted for lip syncing? Milli Vanilli.
I love them. I had their tape and everything.
When they got busted for lip syncing, it destroyed their lives,
destroyed
their career. One of the guys committed suicide, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
He was like, "Oh, I can't take it anymore."
It was many years later, but he, he carried that. They had to give back their Grammy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And now all of those bands do it. All of them. It's crazy. I mean, I'm just like.
When people pay hard money, regardless if it's, whatever genre of music you're going to go see, if you're paying, like, I'm going to go see Metallica in October, and I know you guys talked about the price of tickets and stuff like that. Our tickets were $200, and we're sitting not down low, but we're kind of sitting middle of the ring,
right,
so to speak. And I don't want those guys lip syncing.
No,
I don't want
they
there to
won't.
be any. Of course they won't. But if I went to go see person or group X, and they were. That would leave a bad taste in my mouth.
Now, tracking, if you track something like an intro, or you track, like for instance, "Diary of a Madman" from Ozzy, you know what I mean? The song "Diary of a Madman," where it goes, that's horrible, I know, but
no,
but
you know
what I mean? You know what I mean? It is acceptable to track that in with the music.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Because what are you going to do? You're going to call in the whole Tabernacle Choir into, you know what I mean, on stage with you. So in order to make the song as close to the CD as possible, then yes, tracking does have its place, but it does have no place if you are not singing your own songs and you're not playing your instruments. I mean, and metal, I've never seen a metal show where anybody did any lip syncing or any tracking. Maybe a music video from the 80s.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're playing, to their own track.
Sure.
But live, I've never seen it.
Never seen it.
And one of the things that I feel like I'm talking too much here.
No.
I'm sorry, brother.
If we sat here and looked at each other, it'd be a really awkward show.
Yeah. One of the things that I don't think that a lot of people realize and understand, and it kind of goes along with what you said about how people look at metal, you know what I mean? As the kind of the stupid people, the lower life, you know what I mean? The devil worshipers, this and that. Well, something. Let me tell you something. Metal is in every single country in the world. Okay. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor. It doesn't matter if you're gay, if you're straight. It doesn't matter if you're whatever, if you're a freaking alien. You know what I mean? It's all the same mindset. Whenever everybody goes to a metal show, they're all as one. There is no bias. Nobody asks about your political affiliation. Nobody asks you if you're gay. Nobody asks you if you're a Jew or you're a Muslim or you're this or you're that. Nobody asks you if you're from Hungary or Venezuela or Russia or Japan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's very universal.
It unites.
It unites everybody. And I don't know of any other music that does that. I can't think of a single genre of music that really unites people on the world stage, you know, where it doesn't matter what you look like, what you wear, how you talk, how you walk, what you eat, where you live. You know what I mean? There's no other music other than metal that accepts everyone. And, you know, that's the beauty of it. And that's why I love it, you know?
I think, it's almost like it's just not given the respect that it is. You know, it's almost got a dirty, leaves a dirty taste in some people's mouth or whatnot, or they're just not for, because they have a stereotype that kind of goes along with the metal band or someone who listens to it or whatnot.
Well, you know, and don't get me wrong, there's all kinds of metal. There's some metal that, like, scares me. I'm like, ooh, a little too heavy there, brother.
Calm down.
Look, I ain't shaking hands with you, otherwise you're going to take me to hell with you.
True. But now, what you're talking about, Black Demize, you guys write your own music. You know, listen to your last interview, you guys kind of do it collectively. So when you're writing a song, what inspires you guys? Where's the inspiration come from? I've never written a song. Actually, I tried once, and it was awful. You think it's easy. You sit down with a pen and a paper, and then you just go blank.
Right.
You know? But it's a hard thing to do. So where do you, when you're writing, where do you draw inspiration from?
Well, with these guys, probably about half of our material, they had already written lyrics already in it. So I have to learn it, you know, kind of like Sammy had to do with Van Halen.
Right.
You know, whatever.
Paid off well for him, though.
Yeah. Sammy Hagar. Here's another hint. But so the stuff that they give me for the music, I'll listen to, and I'll listen to, and I'll listen to it again and again and again and again and again, and then finally I'll go, okay, what does that music, how does it make me feel? You know what I mean? Okay, it makes me feel like punches somebody in the face. Okay, what happens when you punch somebody in the face? Well, they fall down and go boom. Hey, there's a title, Fall Down and Go Boom.
You make it sound so simple. It wasn't that easy for me.
No, and I'm not saying that's the exact format, but actually I do take how the music makes me feel, and you take the emotion of that and come up with a topic. You know what I mean? And then you take the topic and you come up with, I always almost come up with a title first, and then, you know, the title can always change, but, you know, you can stay on point. And then you just kind of write around that particular topic without making it so blatantly obvious what you're singing about. Okay. You know what I mean? Because you want people to interpret your songs their own way.
Right.
You know, all songs have particular meanings.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But, you know, if everybody's like, oh, you know, they all have the same concept of that song, then it's not a real personal song. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know, it's
everything's left up to interpretation, and if someone interprets something a different way, I mean, we could read the same book, but yet interpret it differently. So exactly. I absolutely get it.
Like The Richest Man in Babylon, you had to read that up to Mitchell, didn't you?
I'm sure I read it, and for the book report, see, I was born with like a 128 gig memory. Okay, but over the years and a few pickaxes to the head and a four-wheeler wreck later, I'm down to a 16 gig. So after this interview, I'm going to have to shake a few things out, and that was probably one of them that I've lost.
Okay.
But I remember the most random stuff. For example, today someone asked me, how old do you think Mel Brooks is? And I was like, he was probably born in 1927, so he's 91. He was born in 26, so he's 92.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
You know, yeah. But, you know, this historic famous book that I read, I got nothing. So please reteach me.
No, it was just a little short book that you had to read up to Mitchell. It was part of one of the, I don't know what professor was up there. Anyways, it's about how to save money and save, your riches and this and that, 10% off of whatever, da 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 da. But anyways, back to metal. Yeah, I mean, I really, actually, I appreciate you having me come in and do this. I've never been interviewed before in my whole entire life.
This is the first one?
Yeah, absolutely. Except for we did like a ultimate metal thing with my buddy Zeke. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of odd. I don't like being the center of attention. And most of the times I don't even tell people I'm in a band. People that I don't know, don't meet. You know what I mean? I just met or something. I'm not like, hey, I'm Brian. I sing in a heavy metal band. Ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? I mean, I just like if somebody compliments me, I cringe. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I don't know.
It's interesting because I think there's a lot of musicians and singers and even actors who, some of them obviously love the spotlight, love the attention and everything that comes along with it. But there are some who actually cower away from it. And one of those guys in particular is Henry Rollins. Mm-hmm. Henry Rollins loves to be on stage. He loves to sing. He loves to do his spoken word. But as soon as he's finished with giving you what he has to give you that night,
right,
he wants you to not look at him, and he wants to back away and be 10 blocks away while you're still clapping.
Right.
Not because he doesn't like you, not because he doesn't, but it's the asking questions, it's the being the center. He goes, that is just like awkward, and he doesn't like it. It makes him uncomfortable.
And people try to talk to you before you're going on stage. You're trying to focus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're trying to, okay, did I forget something in the set list? Or, damn, I forgot that second verse in that song. Oh, what is it again? And so, hey, how you doing, man? You're gonna and you're like, and the music's blaring. You're like, what? Can't hear you. And you got to scream, and then all of a sudden you blow your voice before you go on stage because you're trying to talk to somebody. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh God, just please leave me alone.
I'm trying to get into my zone. I'm trying to zen.
When I'm done, look, I'll buy you a beer. But right now, please just leave me alone. It's kind of like marriage.
He doesn't mean that, Kim.
No, I love my wife. I love my wife. I love my life. But it's a marriage. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's always going to be something that somebody does in a band that you don't really particularly care for, and vice versa.
So how does that inner dynamic work? Like if you're on the road with a band or you're working with guys, I mean, how do you work it out when it's not working, or someone's gotten on your nerves, or you're just like, it's kind of hard when you're in New York and you live in Statesville, and you're like,
Statesville's a different breed.
Can't just leave the road, right? You got to make it work.
Well, I mean, I really haven't been to that pinnacle of having to go out on the road. Let's face it, we got to work. You know what I mean? I mean, in a perfect world, if I was getting paid to do it, okay, I'd go on a 30, 60, maybe 90-day stint. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I can send money home to help pay the bills.
Sure.
But I'm not going out on the damn road freaking eating Raymond Pride and freaking, bumming, will work for gas or something, one of those signs, I'm just too old to do that, and I've just refused to do that. I love my life, I love my wife, I love my home. You know what I mean? It's I'm very comfortable where I'm at.
One of the coolest things for me is to walk into the daycare to drop my kids off, and there you are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy just sang all weekend in a metal show or in a metal band. and like here he is with his granddaughter, and I'm like, how
cool
is that?
I love her. She's awesome, Aubrey. She's a little sweetheart. Well, you know, I mean, you have to make it work in the family. You know, everybody has different hours they have to work, and Autumn just happens to have to go in. She has got to go in very, very early, and you know, she drops Aubrey off at our house, and then Kim starts up at work early, and I generally don't start up till about 9-10 o'clock. You know what I mean? So you know, it's kind of in succession, so to speak. So you know, tag I'm it. You know what I mean?
Dude, it takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a family, not a village.
Mine's a village.
That's what I hear. Brutal. That's what I hear.
No, they're great.
No, that's awesome. I mean, seriously, it's great daycare.
We went from metal to daycare.
Yeah.
It's coming full circle.
Yes.
If there would you ever do another tribute band, or are you here with Black Demize? I mean, do you feel like there's an inroad? I don't want to give a number because the number sucks, but if you're like, would you still do it if you're enjoying it at 60, 65 years old? You
know something? I'm not going to be doing this crap when I'm 60, 65. Okay. I'm going to be in the mountains, trout fishing, camping, chilling, boating, you know, enjoying life, not battling on stage with a bunch of 19, 21, 22-year-olds. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, they've got a whole, you know, life ahead of them. So, you know, they can have at it, you know. If I can do anything to help them along, give them advice, you know, show them a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, help them, you know, then, you know, I will, you know. Probably about the biggest, some of the most biggest. That's not very good of me. Listen to me. Oh my God, my vocabulary is just totally. You know what the
three of them are, you know, profanity. So.
George Carlin's words, but you know, one of the things that I can tell the younger guys is, look, you know, you may be really good, and you may be a fantastic musician and a person, and this and that and another thing, but I'm gonna tell you, chances are you ain't going nowhere.
You're not gonna make it.
You're not gonna make it. I mean, it's very, very few and in between of people that do. You know what I mean? And generally, how it works is if a band is hitting, you know, let's look back at the Limp Bizkit days.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden there's 10, 15 other bands that sound like Limp Bizkit, you know. Let's look at the Motley Crue days, you know. Motley Crue comes out, boom, you know, all of a sudden you had tons of bands want to be Motley Crue, you know. Metallica, same thing, you know. I mean, you know, so, you know, whatever's hitting, and unfortunately I've never been one to follow the trend, so to speak. You know, I've been true to my own personal musical taste. I've never jumped on a bandwagon to sound like whatever band's hitting at that time. Sure. You know, I've seen so many musicians do it, change their look, change their clothes, change everything. You know, it's like, dude, you know, and then all of a sudden do a full circle and come back to jeans and T-shirts. You know, right. And I'm sitting there going, look at you, you poser, you know what?
That's right. You did all four just make $250,000 tonight, but but you're posers.
Well, you know, I mean, hey, I will not begrudge anybody that is successful.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If you can make money doing metal or hard rock or any kind of music, God bless you, you know?
So you said that you were helping with some production stuff. I want to go backwards a little bit because I thought about this earlier. Like, who have you seen live from your perspective when you're working, who you're like, wow. Like, Styx.
Yes.
Those are musicians.
Yes. There's no tracking. There's what you hear is what you get. Eagles, another band. Live is just remarkable. But Styx, I mean, to be honest with you, I was just like, and I always loved. I'm an old classic rocker.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I truly am. It's just that metal was the only way that there was guitar rock anymore. Do you know what I mean?
I get it. Absolutely.
Because most of the rock today, I just don't get it. It's either too hippie-ish for me, or it's too homogenized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing like some good 70s classic rock.
You're right.
You know what I mean? That's probably the decade that really had the most influence on me and music in general. I'm not taking anything away from the 60s.
Sure.
I'm not taking anything away from the 80s.
Right.
But the 70s ruled.
That was a sweet spot.
It really was, So
I think music in general, for the most part, not every genre of music, but it's almost like it's cyclical in a way. Like right now, everything's in a slump.
Yeah.
The music's kind of crap, right?
Yeah.
But hopefully we're going to be on an uptick here soon where good music's going to be circling back around again. I don't know how you do it.
Well, first people have to stop being so mindless. They're so... And the attention span of people is so short.
It's true.
You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you would pick up an album and you'd listen to one side and then you'd flip it over on the other side, and generally the B side was the best side. The stuff they didn't play on the radio.
Right.
And now, somebody listens to one song, they're like, okay, switch to another band. It's just like anything else, whether it be a video game, whether it be a music video, whether it be music.
I think you're right. But I think there's still something to the getting a CD or getting the tape or even getting, back in the good old days, a record.
Right.
You went to the store, you
Yeah.
bought it,
Yeah.
you ran home, you opened it up,
Yep.
you read the cover, you
Yep.
listened to it. While you're listening to it, you're reading the lyrics.
Right.
You appreciated the artwork that went
Yeah.
into the album cover.
Yeah.
So there's all that detail that goes in there, just like this right here. Oh, thanks, man. So just like this, see, it's actual something you can touch, you can hold it. You know what I'm saying? But someone had to create this.
We go. That's awesome.
We found it. But now you're right. You just get your phone, you hit the search, you find it, you sample it, you skip it, and then it's just.
Yeah, now you can, you're not making any money off your music. So either somebody's ripping off your guitar parts or your drum parts or your vocal parts or your lyric parts or something. You're not going to make any money. People are downloading left and right. You spend a lot of money putting together a CD. I'll tell you what, it's not cheap.
Right.
But now you have to pretty much the merchandising is where you make your money.
Right.
It's where you sell. And then nowadays you can't even do that. I mean, who wants to pay 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks for a t-shirt?
It's crazy, but they line up and do it. It's
I know.
Insane to me, but they do line up and do it.
I can't do it.
I think I was listening to an interview with Steven Tyler, and there's actually something in front of the courts now. It's called MMA. It's not the fighting, but it's the same initials. Can't remember. But anyway, basically they're trying to figure out this whole music thing and how to pay for artists get paid through the Apple, through the Spotify's, through the downloading. It's not perfect yet.
Right.
But it's better than it was, but they're working on it because so many artists were getting music, right? Because you can't pirate a movie. I can't go over here and watch, Mile 22 on Friday night and record it, and then my buddies, and download it, and then we all have it, and nobody pay for it. You go to jail for that.
Right.
But you can do it with music.
I know I'm not a big fan of Lars and the whole what was the download? Napster. You know what I mean? I thought he was being a little bit anal about it. You know what I mean? But now look at it. You know what I mean? Nothing is held sacred. Sacred anymore. I mean, you can download anything now for free.
for free.
For free. You know what I mean? So, I mean, a lot of times, I mean, we need to get on Spotify and a couple other outlets and this and that. But you can either sell them for 99 cents a song, you know, or you can go through a couple other things and they'll give you, you know, royalties for a band camp or something like that. I'm not really too sure how that all works out. But it's like, you know, for every dollar that you sell for songs, and you get like 30 cents back or something, because they're the ones that are doing the distribution for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I can see a distribution company getting 10, 15, 20% of your music, but it's like flip-flop the other way around.
Right.
You know, which I think is just ludicrous and, you know, obscene.
It's a sleazy industry. The more I learn and read and listen to interviews and stuff, it seems to be a pretty sleazy. The artist gets...
Everybody gets screwed, man. You know, even out there in Bollywood, you know what I mean? Friggin', I'm telling you what, it's all smoke and mirrors. I am so glad, to be honest with you, I am so glad, and I pray to God every day that, thank you, Lord, for not making me famous. I'm telling you.
There's not a lot of people who do that, who say that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because I've seen some of them schmucks out there, and it's like, man, you people are screwed up in the head. You know, the huge drug issues, you know, daddy, grandpa, mama issues, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell, man? You know, nobody loves me anymore, so I think I'm gonna, you know, it's like, dude, you know, why don't you get with the reality here, and, you know, outside of your little show that you got going on or whatever, you know, you understand what I'm saying? They're playing a part, but then outside of their part in real life, they don't know how to handle life.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And so they resort to, you know, the darker side of things.
They can't live out of their bubble, or they take on the character that they're playing. They can't get out of character.
They can't get out of character.
Right.
And then they end up turning into like a far left liberal. And then all of a sudden, you know, everybody's wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. Don't you know you're wrong? You know, it's like, dude, take a freaking chill. You know, go back, crawl back into your cave.
Crawl back into your cave. So, if you, we'll wrap this up here in just a minute, but a couple questions. If you were to go see one band, if there's one band that you could go back in time, see past or present, who would you go see? You only pick one.
One band. One band. There's so many. Good God.
I know it was a tough one, right?
That is tough.
I'm going to follow it up with another tough one.
If there's somebody... Now, is it somebody that I've already seen or somebody that
whatever, man,
already,
it's yours. Yeah, you've seen them, not seen them, love them, hate them.
I would have loved to seen The Who.
Okay.
You know, they had so many great songs. You know, a lot of people are always talked about the Stones. You know, the Stones were the greatest band of the 60s and this and that. And I'm like, nah, The Who was hands down. They had greater songs, you know, greater band as far as I'm concerned. High energy. Just kicked ass, you know.
If you, I won't argue with that one. Yeah, I mean, I like the Stones, but like a handful of their songs.
Yeah.
You know, all their other ones were, you know, to me, but you know, not taking anything away from them.
No, they're great. They have great songs, but you know, as for musicianship and talent, you know, on all realms of bands, The Who, you know, even over the Beatles, I would take The Who.
Never, you know, people don't understand this, and people, you know, like, you're nuts, and people are gonna say this, you know, listen, all seven of you, they're gonna be like, I can't get into the Beatles. I gave it a try, you know, it didn't click, it didn't woo me,
you
know,
I
don't know,
I guess we all don't live in a submarine, huh?
No, we don't.
And we're not a walrus.
No,
And
sorry.
Never lived on Penny Lane.
Definitely not.
No. Let's see.
All right, last question for you. This is the dark question. At your funeral, what song do you want played?
My funeral, the song I want played probably would be Judas Priest. What is the name of it? It's off of Redeemer of Souls. Oh gosh, I can't believe. Let me look this up.
I was gonna say we can cheat.
Yeah,
we can use these blasted devices.
Obviously, I know the song so well.
Well, the good news is you're not gonna have to sing it.
Redeemer. Oh, not T-Deemer. The Redeemer of Soul Songs. Okay, full songs. Come on, help me out here, people. Valhalla. Da. Oh, Beginning of the End.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
I'm gonna have to listen to it on my way home.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Perfect.
That's it. It's good stuff. But it's perfect, the lyrical form.
I like the intro already.
So now you're gonna have to go listen to it.
Oh, I'm going to as soon as I get in the car, buddy. Don't you worry.
Oh, yeah.
The earbuds are going in, and I'm not paying attention to any traffic. I'm just gonna drive and listen.
And
beginning of the end. All right.
Yep. Beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's other songs that I always thought, oh, that'd be great for my funeral. You know what I mean?
Isn't it sick and twisted that we actually think that, though?
Well, I mean,
gonna have to.
Dude,
it's gonna happen.
Look, for some of us, quicker than others.
Hey, you never know.
You do never know. I have a grandfather who's 96 years old, fought in World War II, Solomon Islands. The guy's still my fishing buddy, my hero. You know what I mean? And I tell him all the time. I said, you're gonna outlive me. He's like, oh, you're still a young man. I'm like, I don't feel like it, but I'm not saying that in front of you because you're 96, and if you're not bitching, I ain't bitching. You know what I mean?
Well, he sounds like a great guy and a tough dude as well.
Absolutely. Well,
they built them tougher back then.
They did.
It's just a different generation, man.
It really is. Now the big thing is dad bods. The
dad bod.
Yeah, 18 to 21-year-olds having the dad bod. It's called Get Up Off Your Ass and Off the Game.
Yes.
Go outside and play. Do something constructive. Anyways.
No, I'm with you. I get it. I don't want my kids playing the games, watching the TV. Like, it's cool to go outside and explore and climb a tree and play with some sticks and rocks and, have an imagination.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm not down with the LFS. You know what LFS is?
Mm-mm.
Lazy F syndrome.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And and they say every generation has the generations before them always knock that past previous generation. But man, I'm telling you what, these guys,
no clue.
Pretty bad when you're twice their age and you work twice as hard, and they just sit on their thumbs and twiddle and is it time to leave yet? Man, this sucks. Oh, yeah, I need to go home. I got Medal of Honor to play, or what's some of the games?
I don't know. I've heard this thing called Fortnite. I have no idea. Yeah. But apparently parents hate it because their kids are sucked into that game.
Well, I had ending on this note, I had a relative of mine called me and said, one of my other relatives called me and said, you know, and haven't talked to him in quite some time. You know what I mean? Okay, I'll just say it. His son calls him, right? Hasn't talked to him in a year. Never called him on Father's Day. Doesn't call him, you know, on his birthday. Doesn't call him to say, hey, how you doing? How you doing, Pops? Love you. You know, not a thing. Internet cable gets cut off, right? Phone call he gets. Hey, Dad, how come the internet's cut off? You know what I mean? The kid's more worried about the freaking internet because he can't get online playing games with his buddies than he is to have an actual conversation with his own father, you know, and stuff like that just really gets on my last nerve, you know what I mean? It's the decline of Western civilization, part 3.
Well, that's, you know, part of the reason, a big influence for me to do this show. That's why we call it Appetite for Discussion, because talking and discussing and learning from one another, we're going to lose the art form.
Correct.
Of, you know, talking to one another.
Writing letters.
Yeah.
Who writes a letter anymore?
I still write letters.
Do you?
Yeah. I write in a journal to my kids when I travel. That way they'll have something
that
awesome. I wrote
that's
to
awesome.
them. Now I write like chicken scratch, so you know, it's up to their interpretation maybe. But I write something to them instead of, you know, I left something on a thumb drive for you guys to look at.
Right.
You know, come on.
Right.
So no, I enjoy penmanship. Actually, you can still get cursive handwriting books to teach your kids cursive on Amazon. I've already looked them up.
Oh, really?
Because I don't want them, because eventually maybe when they get away from the written word, you know, maybe they can solve, you know, the code by writing cursive or have, you know,
right.
I don't understand how handwriting is going to go away, but it seems like it's going to.
It does seem like it, but and it's even disappearing with me, you know, unless I send out a card or I write a note for something. Like somebody orders some Black Demize stuff, you know, I'll get a little postcard and I'll write a nice little note. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. Blah 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 blah. But it's sincere, you know what I mean?
It's a personal touch.
And I sign it, you know, my name, the whole 9 yards. When I look at it, I'm like, God, I write like a 12-year-old. You know? I
think it's just the curse of being a dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have pretty penmanship.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they say if your letters are forward, then you're a more outgoing person. If they're backwards, then you're more recessive or whatever. But if your letters are straight up, then you're pretty moderate. You know, you're
hanging out there in the middle.
So I always try to keep my letters straight. I'm like, even if I'm there or there, man, when I'm writing this letter, nobody's going to be able to tell me
where I'm leaning. Yeah. That's right. I'm straight. Well, Brian, man, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
And good luck to your show. Also, just remember, Brian has his show Saturdays, 8 o'clock, Ultimate Metal Show. If you guys want to go check him out this weekend, performing
Beer City Metal Fest in Leicester, something like that. It's out towards Asheville. But quick plug, we're September 12th. We're opening up for Phil and Salmo and the Illegals down in Greenville, and that's gonna be a big show. That's gonna be a really big show. It's gonna be awesome.
Good for you.
Can't wait. I'm psyched. You know. So, thanks so much.
Absolutely, man. Thanks again. Yeah. Everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for States Vegas Radio. Julius, thanks, guys.
Oh, God. I went with the liberal thing.